Welcome back to DIY Willy. Today we're getting back to work on Chevy Silverado. It's my 2011 Chevy Silverado, and it's given me a trouble code, a P219A. I wish I had a screenshot of that, but I don't. Been at the dealer the last week or so, and they've been trying to troubleshoot it further. I did my own troubleshooting, and I came up with 2 misfires on number 7. That's not enough to throw a misfire code, but it did lead me to the number 7 as having a problem. So with it not having too many misfire codes, I know it's not electrical like a coil, a spark plug, or a wire, but it could be a fuel injector. So one of the symptoms of the 219A code is a bad fuel injector or a leaky fuel injector, besides oxygen sensors and such. So it's a lean. What the code is basically is a lean condition. The A stands for bank 1. If it were 219B, it would be bank 2. So I took my thermometer, my laser thermometer, and I checked the exhaust manifold, and at each cylinder it was about 250, 260, somewhere in that range, and number 7 was 219. So that's considerably cooler than the rest of the cylinders, so it's not running efficiently. Something is wrong at that cylinder. So I suspected that the injector was the problem on cylinder number 7. When I took it to the dealer and they kept it and they did their diagnostic, they first came back and said it was the fuel in the tank that I was using. They said it was too much alcohol. The mixture of alcohol to gas was off. It wasn't correct. I use E85 in this truck, and of course it would have 85% alcohol and 15% gas, so the mixture would be off. I didn't quite buy that decision or that result, but hey, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, right? I brought it home. From that, they told us to run the gas out of it, so I was going to drive it around that weekend. That would have been we brought it home on Saturday, and I was going to drive it around on Sunday and kind of burn the fuel out. But Sunday, when I went to start it up, it wouldn't run. It just spit and sputtered and wouldn't turn over. So I took it back to the dealer on Monday. They did some more observations on it and diagnostic, and it took them 4 days. They came back and said it's my fuel injector. So, well, that's exactly what I had already kind of figured out for myself. So I spent $200 basically for them to tell me that it needed a new injector. However, though, I said, well, I suspected that already on number 7, and his reply was, well, we got number 6 and number 3 injectors as being bad. I don't know if he was just trying to BS me or what, but regardless, kind of confirms what I thought already about being an injector. So guess what we're doing on this episode of DIY Willy? We're going to put new injectors in my 2011 Chevy Silverado. All right. So here is a big chunk of change, man. These injectors were $106 each. With tax and everything, it was like $935 or so, about, give or take. They are different boxes. You see this one's a larger box, but if you look, it's the same numbers on there. The 126 1 3 4 11, 126 1 3 4 11, 3300 or 3.300, 3.300, 217 3411, 217 3411. It's the same. It's probably just a different packaging, maybe the year it was produced, I'm not sure, but it's the same part. So taking one out of the box and getting a look at it, you know, it's an electronic part, very simple, small. Got the O-rings. I believe the O-ring on the top specifies, you know, that it's for the alcohol, for the E85. I'm not really sure, I'm just guessing. Usually the other O-rings are either green or blue or different color than the regular black ones. So yeah, so let's get these get this truck taken apart and get these new injectors installed. I'm really not trying to make a how-to video with this. I don't know how to do it. I understand the process and I understand what's going on, but I've never done the job before. So I'm going to be learning just as you see it. So yeah, this isn't really a how-to video, but maybe you'll see something in this video that you don't see in another video, or it may help you do the job yourself. Either way, we're going to get this done, and I'm going to post this video, and maybe it will help you like it will help me. All right, sorry for the noise. The neighbors up the street have a little bobcat moving around up there. I think they're digging a pool, but you may hear the bobcat up the street a little bit now and then. And of course, Spike's in the garage singing his song he always sings. But first thing you want to do is get the hood open and get a look at the engine. Now my truck's kind of tall. I've got to use a two-step because I'm short. But anyway, of course, we've got to get the cover off. We're going to take the intake off. I did change from my my air raid intake back to the stock intake when it started throwing the code, thinking possibly that was the problem. Since now I know it's not the problem, I will put the air raid intake back on it once I get the new injectors installed. So another thing we need to do first, let's get this cover off, pull it out of the way, and we'll set it aside. Now mine's broken, and this piece always comes off the cover, and it's no big deal. I broke it years ago. I'll just put it back on the cover. Next, I want to take the intake off because you can see it runs all along the passenger side of the engine, or bank 2 of the engine. The injectors are underneath, so we will definitely have to take the tube off, and then we're going to take this plate off that holds the wire harness, and we're going to pop a couple of the clips off so that we can move the harness up out of the way. And then we'll get to the 4 bolts that hold the injector rails down. So let me get the tools I need and we'll get started. All right, so I forgot the most important part of doing this repair is to depressurize the fuel system. One of the ways of doing that is to pulling the fuel relay or the fuel fuse while the truck is running. The engine will run out of fuel and turn off. That way you know all the fuel rail is empty of pressure, not so much fuel. There'll still be some residual fuel, but it will be depressurized, and it'll be safe to remove it. There's also a serrator valve on the other side that we'll talk about to remove any residual pressure that may still be there. Let's look inside the fuse box. Taking a look at the fuse box, the fuel pump relay is the fuel pump fuse is number 20. That's right here, right next to the fuel pump relay, right? You've got a 25, which is a trailer parking, I guess, or light, and then the fuel pump fuse, which is the 20 right above it. So we want to go look in that area. Well, if your truck's like mine, you don't have that fuse or that relay. So what do you do then? All right, so after some research, the next thing you want to do is look at number 21 right here. That would be the fuel system control module fuse. Removing that fuse will discharge the fuel system and cause the truck or the engine to turn off. All right, so let's start the engine and we'll pull that fuse and cross our fingers. Okay, the engine's running and we're gonna pull that fuse. There we go, should be depressurized now. So to get started on this job, we're gonna go ahead and take off the intake tube and this long part of it here. It's just got a couple hose clamps, one here, one there. You pull this out here, this is part of your PPC system, and then it just pulls off. Now I removed this in the air raid video I had. It talks about it a little more in depth. If you need more information, you can watch that video, and it will show a little bit more about the PVC side of it and the intake tube. Just like that. Give it a couple pulls and away it goes. Now looking in here, now I cleaned my throttle body when I put the air raid intake tube on, but as you can see, it's still kind of dirty in there, and I may take the throttle body off, unplug it, and give it a proper cleaning on both sides while I do this job. It wouldn't hurt, you know. But we'll talk about that later. So here is your injector rails. This is on the passenger side, and this one is on the driver's side. Now there's more obviously in the way on the driver's side, but we're gonna get it out of the way. Here's the Schrader valve right here that I was talking about that you can depressurize. There may be, see, there's no pressure, but there is fuel in there. As you can see when I pushed it, smells nice. That will take any residual pressure off that you may have to worry about. You've got 4 bolts, one here, one back there, one over here, and one over there that remove the free rolls. But to get to that point, you have a crossover tube right here in the middle. So to get to that point, we've got to pull the wire weight out of the way. So that is a 10 millimeter. We'll get that, and then we'll just pull up on the wires. We may take off the one on the back too. Who knows, just to get a little more play in the wires. Now this tubing is really brittle. I don't know about yours on your engine, but mine is breaking up and coming apart everywhere. So be very careful with it. If you have the time, replace it if you want to, make it look a little more appealing. I'm gonna leave mine like it is, but I am gonna take off those plates and probably disconnect the pressure sensor, and we'll get closer to getting this job done. Okay, so I've got the wire kind of up out of the way. I've got the, I believe it's a pressure sensor. I've got it unplugged. The wire also up out of the way. I've unplugged the EVAP Purge valve, and this one, I'm not sure what this one does, but I pulled it out of right there. You just got to give it a twist. I removed it just for some more room. I don't know if it was necessary or not, but I pulled it out. Also, I'm gonna get the canister purge valve out of the way, and it just got a little clip on the bottom that you should, well, I need 2 hands. Yeah, I'm gonna get that valve out of the way and push on it, and it should push up, and it should just pull out. Like that. And you just push down on it and it should just pull right out. Now the bottom one also has a thing. You just put a little tab on the bottom, push it towards the engine, and that will release it as well. Or maybe it's fine just like it is. It kind of rotates out of the way. Maybe we'll get it out of the way like that. All right, so now that's all that's left are the 4 bolts holding the rails in, and remove the fuel supply on the back side back here. So yeah, I think that looks like about an 8 millimeter. I'm gonna get that socket, and we'll get to that. All right guys, so it's been a couple days since we were working on this project, installing the injectors on the 5.3 liter LS engine inside my 2011 Chevy Silverado. We're at the point now, we've got pretty much everything disconnected, and we're at the point now that we take the 4 bolts out holding the fuel rails, and we should be able to pull the rails out, and then we can change the injectors on the table. I don't exactly remember where we left off except right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the wrench and take these 4 bolts out. 1, 2, and there's 3 and 4 on the rail, and then we'll pop the injectors out and work on it on the table, like I said. Oh, we still have to unplug the injectors themselves. They got all these little plugs right here. So we're gonna work on doing that too. So yeah, let's get started. Let's get this thing done. Probably better if we unplug them first. I don't know how it... We're gonna find out exactly how all this works. I think you just pop those little... I don't know how those work. We're gonna have to figure out how those clips work. Huh, that's easy enough. Alright. I see how they work. Let's check that out. So here's the wire connection for the injector. And it sits on there. It sits on there like that. And you just pull up on this white part. It's got a little release. Kind of push in on it, pull up on it. And that will give it a point. That'll give it enough room to unlock it so that you can press the little gray one right here on the side and pull it right off. That's easy enough. All right, now let me do the other 7. All right, so I've got the 4 bolts out. I've got most of the injectors popped out of their holes. Looks like number 6 is stubborn. It's gonna stay in its hole. It came out of their fuel rail actually. So quite a bit of gas spilled out. There was still a lot of residual gas, not pressurized, but still in the rail. So it spilled out on the manifold up here. Let's go ahead and see if we can get it out. And let's see if we can get it out of here and get it over here on the table. Get a better look at it. Oh, number 6 just fell out. Oh yeah, I forgot. I got one still connected over here. It didn't want to come off the injector. This might make it harder. I don't know. Oh, there it goes. There we go. Let's put it on the table and check it out. All right, so we got the fuel rail out, and like I said, number 6 just kind of fell out of the rail, stayed with the engine. I don't know, maybe it wasn't installed correctly, or maybe it was just, you know, it's been in there since 2011. It was pretty tight. Anyway, so I've got the new injectors. I've got some white lithium grease here we're going to use to lubricate them, to put them back in. And I've got an assortment of picks to pull the O-rings and such out if they get stuck in there. Like number 6 came apart completely. There should be an O-ring. You can see the top. There should be an O-ring and a holder for the O-ring. So yeah, there's some parts that are still inside the fuel rail. So all we got to do is pull these little clips off, and the injectors should pull out. So let's do that. Let's pull a couple of them off and see how easy they come out. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers. Ow! Well, that didn't work out. There we go. Just pull them off like that. Then the injector, you can kind of wiggle it, turn it, and pull it out. Of course, there's a lot of fuel left in there. Bye-bye fuel. All the gasoline. Gotta be careful with that. It'll evaporate. That's a lot of gas. I don't know how else though it would I don't know how else though it would come out. You know? The engine stopped running. So I don't know. I wonder if there's a... Let's see, we'll grab this one. I'm gonna save these clips. they're in there. Oh. They're in there pretty tight. I'll get the rest of these out and I'll get back with you. Okay, now with all the injectors out, they're not that easy to pull out. I mean, they're in there pretty tight. It takes a little bit of effort to pull them out. We still have, let's see, we still have the O-ring for number 6 in the rail. I'll pull that out. And then there's the little, I don't know if you call this a washer or lock washer or what you call that, but it was still down inside. Well, that's different than the rest of them, isn't it? Oh no, it's the same. Yeah, that's all that's on top. Where's number 6 at? Yeah, so this would be normally like this, and then this washer would be pressed on like that, holding the washer on. So yeah, that's all the injectors out, and all the clips. I'm gonna hang on to these clips. You never know when you take an injector out, or when you might lose a clip. Is there more gas in there? Nah, just a little bit. But now we got to put them in, and we're gonna use a little bit of white lithium grease. I'll probably just kind of wipe inside and make sure there's no debris in each hole. I don't think so. I mean, the injectors just came out. Make sure they're clean. You know, I don't know. Just make sure there's nothing inside. We want to get the injectors back in as soon as possible so nothing has a chance to go inside. There we go. We got our lithium grease here. It's good to go. Let's take victim number 1. Get it installed. Come on. Come on now. This is where you want to go. Now these come with the clips on them. So we just pull the clips off. And we'll reuse the new clips. I'll keep them all separate. And we'll put some lithium grease on the new O-rings. A little dab like that, smear it around. A little bit goes a long way. Now see how hard they are to put back in. I don't know. Now you want to make sure that the connection side goes to the outside. You can turn them a little bit when they're inside installed, but I mean, it's best to try to plan ahead. Oh, they actually snap right in. Look at that. It went in a lot easier than they came out. Now let's get the next victim. Oh, I should put the lock back on, huh? How's it go on? Oh, let's see. I forgot how it went on there. And I need to get my other hat. Yeah, okay, so it goes on like that. Well, should just snap on like that. There we go. Yeah, just like that. Get the next one ready. Get the grease on there. A little bit goes a long way. Willy, come on, Willy. There we go. It doesn't matter. These things aren't marked where they go, so they're all the same. it doesn't matter how you put them in. There we go. So I'm gonna turn the camera off and get the rest of these injectors in, and I'll come back. Alright guys, so check it out. I've got all the injectors installed now, all the locks in place, all the little clips. Now we want to lube the black part of the O-ring, the black O-ring that goes into the intake manifold. We want these things to snap in as easy as they did when they went into the fuel rails. We don't want them to be as tight as the ones coming out were. Now granted, the ones that coming out were from 2011, what is it, 11 years ago. And who knows if this engine was built a little bit before that, you know. But we're just gonna lube these up. Just like this. Make them easier to go in. Remember, a little bit goes a long way. Okay, so you can see the injector holes there. I've kind of taken a rag and made sure there was no loose dirt around them. And there's still dirt in the area, but there's no loose dirt around the injectors. So where they go into. So I'm gonna go ahead and work the fuel rails in, and then push them inside. I should be able to put the bolts in and start reconnecting everything. Should be good to go. Now I've already got grease on these things, so I hope they don't pick up too much dirt as they go in. But we'll do our best. Now when you go to put them in, remember your fuel connection is on the driver's side, so this goes to the back. Go. And it just snaps into place. You could hear it as it went down. Yeah, it just snaps in like that. Let's get this side, make sure they're all lined up in their holes, and give them a push. Just like that. Couldn't ask for anything better. Wow. Alright. Now I just start reconnecting everything. Looks good. They all look like they're seated. I'm gonna go ahead. Well, that one doesn't, but why aren't you going down in your hole? Give you a couple little wiggles. Number 7 is a problem. There we go. Just kind of give them a little shake back and forth. They go in their little holes. Little downward pressure. There we go. Now I'll get the 4 little bolts. We'll tighten them down. I'm gonna put these bolts up here for now, so I know they're at. And these are the 8mm head bolts. There's 4 of them. They go right back down into the fuel rail to bolt them in. I'm gonna go ahead and get them started for the most part. There we go. One more. Back here by this problem child number 7. Okay, now I got my ratchet with the number 8 long socket, and we'll just run them down. Could have used my impact driver, I guess, because these screws are kind of long. That's all right. We'll spend the time. Gotta do it really fast. Willy, No, you can't see this side, but the one with the fuel, where the fuel rail connects, it really takes the deep socket. Can't even see it. I just know where it is. Alright, so it's time to start putting some of the wiring back together. We'll just put this one back over. It just kind of sits over this piece here. You see this? Kind of sits over that. And then it has one stud there. And it's got one bolt. That's a 10mm bolt. We just put that back on like that. We can run it down. Center down. Give it a quick tighten. Doesn't have to be cranked in. This is just plastic, guys. Get it down like that. I'm gonna leave this loose for now because I still have to put the EVAP valve back in. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have put that down until I got that in there. Okay, anyway, we'll fix that later. So over here on the injectors, you can see they're down there right here. Here's one of them. This would be 2, 4, 6, and 8 in the back on the passenger side. So you just take these and you see the 2 holes and 2 pins right there. You line up the 2 pins and these notches on the side. Click them back in and push the white piece down. This is the white piece is what you pushed up to push on the green tab. You just push it down like that. Injector done. Let's go to number 2. Do the same thing. Plug it in. Push the white part down. There we go. Let's see, where's the next one hiding? Where is the next one hiding? Oh, duh, right here. And we push it in, line up everything. Push it in and push the white one down. You'll hear the snaps. Let's get the one, number 8 back here. We'll line it up. And send her home. There we go. Send her home. We got number 1 here. Where's number 1 hiding? I'll finish this up and I'll get back. All right, so we've got all the electrical connections done. Well, just one more left. Got all the injectors plugged in. I've got this still to plug in. I believe this is a temperature sensor, or maybe this is the pressure sensor. I had a rag to clean it up. This may be the pressure sensor, I don't know. Where'd my rag go? What do I do with my rag? I lost my rag. Yeah, anyway, this is one more sensor here to go. This is the maybe the pressure sensor. I'm not sure which one this is, but you just give it a twist and push in, and then it twists back and locks into place. That's installed. We got one more right here. This may be the temperature sensor or the pressure sensor. Again, I'm not sure. We'll just plug it back in. So that's the 2 on top of the intake. We got the fuel rail to snap back in, and it just snaps in place like that. Make sure it clicks. The EVAP solenoid is back in. Everything looks good on this side. This side is everything too. All the injectors are in, their locks are down. Yeah, nothing else got disturbed. Looks good. Looks really good. Now we just have our intake manifold, or the plenum part. This is part of the EGR system. Probably take that off since I'm going to put the tube back on, the air raid tube, and we'll be ready to put the fuse back in. cycle the pump a couple times to make sure they get pressure up in there, and then start it up. All right, let me put the intake tube back on. So while I was here today, I decided to take a look at the throttle body too. It has nothing to do with the injectors really, but it is part of the intake system. Just want to show how dirty it is, and all that dirt can cause a rough idle and a hesitation, whatever, you know. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up, get it looking like new, and put it back on. All right, got it all cleaned up. Looks pretty good. There's the backside. Looks a lot better than it did. You can see the daylight that comes around now, around the butterfly. That allows air for the idle. You get that dirt buildup around there, and it chokes out the engine, causes a rough idle. So that's pretty clean right there. I think we'll run with that. All right, let me get it back installed. I'm gonna put a little bit of lithium grease again on the O-ring, just so it doesn't pinch it. It just goes back on easier. All right, so there's the throttle body back installed. You want to tighten the bolts in a crisscross pattern. I don't have a torque spec. Again, I'm DIY Willy. I just send it. If I can find a torque spec for the throttle body, I'll put it in the description. To plug it back in, you just go snap it, and like everything else, has this little lock pin. Push that back in. Now this won't come undone. So I'm gonna put the intake on it, the tube on it, and we'll be ready to cycle it a couple times, get the fuel pressure back up. All right. There we go, Willy. These back in. Plug it back on. I've just turned the key to the on position a couple times. Let the fuel pump prime up the injectors. Go. Everything's running. We got any leaks? No, it doesn't appear to be. No leaks that I can see. We do have a check engine light, but we may have to reset that. That may have been a fuel pressure thing. Yeah, everything's plugged back in. All right. Yeah, I don't see any leaks anywhere. Oh, I guess that would help. There, that probably take away the check engine light. Willy, you forgot it. I was getting in a hurry. All right, let's give it a couple more revs, and then look at that rough idle right there. What's he doing? We still have that check engine light. We're gonna get the scanner out and read what that is here in a minute. I'll probably unplug the battery to clear all the trims and reset the computer. But it seems to be running good. try it again. All right, let me get the scanner and we'll read what that check engine light is. So taking a look at what the scanner says in the modules, we go to 7E8. You know, I'm not too familiar with what those modules designations are, but that's the only one that's showing a code. And it's showing, come on now, read the codes, stored codes. Now it's not supported. Baloney. I just read the codes on there. Do I have to start the vehicle? Maybe. Let me start it. Alright, so let's try it now. Looking at the modules, we open up 7E8 with the truck running and stored codes. It's showing a P107, which is manifold absolute pressure barometric pressure circuit low. So I'm guessing that I had that that line out of the intake plenum, or out of the man. So I'm guessing I had that line disconnected. I didn't have it plugged back in. So I'm gonna go ahead and clear the code and see if it pops back up. Yes, I'm sure. Get it out of here. All right. Let's go back and read the other packets, the other modules. No codes there. Stored codes. Nothing. We got a green light down here. So I call this a success. Now we'll back out of here and finish putting it together and take it for a ride. I really appreciate you following me along on that journey of replacing these injectors. First time I've ever done it. It wasn't a hard project, if you don't mind getting in there and trying something new. So yeah, thanks for coming, stopping by, checking out my videos, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.